Good morning, second grade. Happy Friday. You guys did it. Another week over and done. Make sure that today, before the end of the day, all your iReady minutes are done. Remember, I told you yesterday that we are still missing a lot of people. Today, you're going to read pages 22 through 27 in Introducing Africa. So you're going to go ahead and finish the book, and you're going to complete the assignment called Countries. And you're just telling me what you learned and how the captions helped you understand the pictures. So maybe you didn't know what some of those countries looked like and the captions helped you. And then, of course, it is Friday, which means we have a Free Write Friday. Tell me about anything. Ariana has a very cool story going on. It's the same story, so she's been writing about a girl with magic powers. So she's been telling me about that. So you guys can keep a story going from last week, or you can start completely over. You can do whatever you want. Remember, it is Friday. Yeah, all right. Let's get back to our book, Because of Winn-Dixie, and let's see what we have. And what Opal's going to do with Winn-Dixie today. All right, chapter 5. Winn-Dixie couldn't stand to be left alone. We found that out real quick. If me and the preacher went off and left him by himself in the trailer, he pulled all the cushions off the couch and all the toilet paper off the roll, and we started tying him outside with a rope when we left. That didn't work either. Winn-Dixie howled until Samuel, Mrs. Dwettler's dog, was howling too. It was exactly the kind of noise that people at an all-adult trailer park did not like to hear. He just doesn't want to be left alone, I told the preacher. That's all. Let's take him with us. I could understand the way Winn-Dixie felt. Getting left behind probably made his heart feel empty. After all, the preacher gave in, and everywhere we went, we took Winn-Dixie, even to church. The Open-Air Arms Baptist Church of Naomi isn't a regular-looking church. The building used to be a Picket Quick store. When you walk in the front door, the first thing you see is the Picket Quick motto. It's written on the floor in little red tiles and big letters that say, pick, 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 quick, quick, quick. The preacher tried painting over those little tiles, but the letters won't stay covered up, so the preacher has just given up and let them be. The other thing about the Open Arms is that they have that's different from other churches, is that there aren't any pews. People bring their own fold-up chairs and lawn chairs, so it looks more like a congregation is watching a parade or sitting at a barbecue instead of being at church. It's kind of a strange church. I thought Winn-Dixie would fit right in. But the first time we brought Winn-Dixie to Open Arms, the preacher tied him outside the front door. Why did we bring him all the way here just to tie him up, I asked. Because dogs don't belong in church, Opal, said the preacher. That's why. He tied Winn-Dixie to a tree and said that now there's a lot of shade for him and that ought to work out real good. Well, it didn't. The service started, and there was some singing and some sharing and some praying, and then the preacher started preaching, and it wasn't 2 or 3 words into his sermon when there was a terrible howl coming from outside. The preacher tried to ignore it. Today, he said. "Oh," said Winn-Dixie. "Please," said the preacher. "Oh," said Winn-Dixie back. "Friends," said the preacher. "Oh," wailed Winn-Dixie. Everyone turned in their lawn chairs and fold-up chairs and looked at one another. "Opal," said the preacher. "Ow," said Winn-Dixie. "Yes, sir," I said. "Go get that dog," he yelled. "Yes, sir," I yelled back. I went outside and untied Winn-Dixie and brought him inside, and he sat down beside me and smiled at the preacher, and the preacher couldn't help it. He smiled back. Winn-Dixie had the effect on him. And so the preacher started in preaching again. Winn-Dixie sat there listening, wiggling his ears the way that he did, trying to catch all the words, and everything would have been all right, except a mouse ran across the floor. The Open Arms had mice, and they were there from when it was a Pick and Quick. And there were a lot of good things to eat in the building. And when the Quicket Pick became the Open Arms Baptist Church of Naomi, the mice stayed around to eat all the leftover crumbs from the potluck suppers. The preacher kept on saying how he was going to have to do something about them, but he never did. Because the truth is, he couldn't stand the thought of hurting anyone, anything, even a mouse. Well, when Dixie saw the mouse, and he was up and after him. 1 minute, everything was quiet and serious. The preacher was going on, and then the next minute, Winn-Dixie looked like a furry bullet shooting across the building, chasing the mouse. He was barking, and his feet were skidding all over the polished Picket floor, and people were clapping and hollering and pointing, and they were going wild when Winn-Dixie actually caught the mouse. I have never in my life seen a dog catch a mouse, said Miss Norley, and she was sitting next to me. He's a special dog, I told her. I imagine so, she said back. Winn-Dixie stood up there in the front of the whole church, wagging his tail, holding the mouse real carefully in his mouth. Holding him tight, but not squishing him. I believe that Mutt has got some retriever in him, said someone behind him. That's a hunting dog. Winn-Dixie took the mouse over to the preacher and dropped it at his feet. Winn-Dixie put his paw right on the mouse's tail, and then he smiled up at the preacher. He showed him all of his teeth, and the preacher looked down at the mouse, and he looked at Winn-Dixie, and he looked at me, and he rubbed his nose, and he got real quiet in the picket quick. Let us pray, the preacher said finally, for this mouse, and everyone started laughing and clapping. The preacher picked up the mouse by its tail and walked it and threw it out the front door of the picket quick, and everybody applauded again. Then he came back, and we all prayed together. And then, lost my place. Hold on. There weren't many kids at the open arms, just Dunlap and Steve Dewberry, two brothers who weren't twins but looked like they were, and Amanda Wilkson, whose face was always pinched up like she was smelling something real bad, and Sweetie Pie Thomas, who was only 5 years old and still mostly a baby. None of them wanted to be my friend anyway because they probably thought I'd tell on them for the preacher for every little thing they did wrong, and that they would get in trouble with their parents. So I was lonely, even having Winn-Dixie. Finally, I prayed for the mouse. Like the preacher suggested, I prayed that he didn't get hurt when he was flying out the door of the Open Arm Baptist Church of Naomi, and I prayed that he landed on a soft piece of grass. So it looks like Winn-Dixie is starting to get loved everywhere he goes, right? So everyone was kind of annoyed with him howling outside of the church, but then he came in and kind of made a little scene, and everyone was laughing and giggling, and I think they ended up loving him. So it sounds like Winn-Dixie is just very affectionate. So maybe Winn-Dixie can help Opal make some friends. We'll have to see. Oh, Bella came up to say hi. There she is. All right, guys. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see all of you back on Monday. Ready to learn. Bye.